Hello everyone, Speedrunner 0-18 here, back again with another Pokemon Yellow speedrun analysis video. Today we'll be doing the third of the Kanto starter trio, Squirtle. We already did Bulbasaur and Charmander. I'm not going to spoil the times for those if you haven't watched them yet, but I'll just do it anyway. So far, Bulbasaur is in the lead, because it generally performed a lot better. Charmander was a lot more difficult to route out because of its fire typing, but I will just say, Squirtle is probably the hardest starter for me to route. Like, some fights took me quite a while to figure out how to do consistently. Okay, so let's start with this rival fight. It's basically the same as the last few Pokemon. It's like this fight always causes me a lot of resets. I think it took me 8 rival fights just to get this winning attempt here that I'm recording right now. So it took me about 8 tries. A lot of those rival fights just ended in failure too. Just one tail whip and a tackle from the Eevee, it'll put me into 2-hit kill range, so the Eevee's generally difficult for a lot of Pokemon, especially since you can't use potions. Okay, so the reason I'm defeating Pokemon right here is because I'm manipulating some experience, so that way on Route 3, when I defeat the last, I need to grow to level 15 to learn Water Gun, because by that point, I'll be basically out of tackles. Well, no, I'll be out of Bubble, and I don't want to spam tackle for the remaining, bug catcher, because the final bug catcher on Route 3 has a Metapod, and he takes 7 or 8 hits to kill with tackle. But if I can manipulate my experience to get to level 15 after that last, I'll be able to go right away with Water Gun. So that's the reason I do it. I only need to get 36 experience, because when I was routing this out, after I defeated the last, I'm like, I cannot defeat this bug catcher with tackle, and I don't want to go back to the center to heal. How much experience until I get to 15? And it was 36. So that's how I got that number. Okay, so the whole rest of this is basically the same up to Viridian Forest. We're on our way there right now. So I'm trying to work on recording these videos a bit better, instead of just having a bunch of moments where I'm just sitting around just saying nothing and be like, yep, that's still going. I don't want to keep doing that, so I'm going to continually find something to talk about, even if it's personal life stuff. And a lot of you apparently like this type of content, and I enjoy making these yellow videos, so I'll keep doing it like this. Also, from the last Charmander video, I did get a haircut. I actually got it yesterday as of recording this video before putting it on YouTube, so I'm real glad I got my haircut. My hair may look a bit ugly right now, but once it grows out, it'll look just fine. I don't really care. Anyway, here's the mini boss of Viridian Forest. I have to use one tail whip because it takes 8 tackles to kill the Caterpie, but if you use a tail whip, it turns into 6. So you will save a turn just from using tail whip. I did test this, trust me. Oh, you know something else I've been trying to do with this series? There's this application called Game Hook, which YouTubers like Scott's Thoughts and Van Man has used to capture in-game time, Pokemon's movesets, the amount of PP they have left. I'm not sure I really want to use that because I really like having the moves on the left side of the screen be in that special type of font, and sometimes I change the size of the word to make it fit in the box. I kind of like having it like that, but I am looking into using it just to capture in-game time. So, when I do races for Fire Red and Leaf Green, or maybe Pokemon Yellow if I ever get to that point, it'd be nice to have the in-game time show with the real time, since if my runs are being measured with game time, or the average of both times, it's good to know what the in-game time is at that moment. So I am planning to use Game Hook just for that. There isn't a version out for Fire Red and Leaf Green yet as of recording this, but there's supposed to be one pretty soon. I'm only going to use it for the in-game time, because it'll be really nice to have that on screen. So anyway, so right here I sell TM34 Bide, I buy 1 Pokeball, 7 potions, 4 antidotes, 5 Paralyze Heals. The reason I buy more antidotes and Paralyze Heals was because during routing this, I kept running out of those because I kept getting poisoned too many times, so I just buy a bit extra. Oh yeah, the reason I buy 1 Pokeball now instead of 2, it's because I just found out on a Spearow or Pidgey, if they have a third of their health left or lower, which you can get them down to red bar with just one water gun, the Pokeball will work 100% of the time. So there is no point to using 2 balls unless you plan to not damage it. Because if you don't plan on damaging the wild Spearow or Pidgey, then what you'll have to do is hope on a 33% chance of the ball working. It's basically a 99% chance to getting the ball within 3 tries. And I don't want to buy 3 balls because the remaining Pokeballs is just space taken up in my bag. And bag space is limited in this game. So I really need to watch out for that. Alright, so the reason here I choose to fight the last is because I only have enough bubbles for this fight. I don't want to fight Metapod with only Tackle. I'd rather fight a Nidoran with only Tackle because it still does about a third of its health. Alright, so right here, level 15. That was the reason I needed the extra 36 experience. That's something I really like about this series, is trying to route out experience manipulation, because I think it makes me look pretty smart. Okay, so right here, I just spam Water Gun, because imagine trying to take out that Metapod with only Tackle. It would suck. And it doesn't matter that Squirtle has Tail Whip, because the Metapod's got frickin' hardened. Alright, so right here, 1 Water Gun always puts it into that low a health without a crit. And at that low a health, it's a guaranteed catch. So I will remember that. From now on in this series at least. So in Mount Moon, I will be getting the candy, TM1, and I will be defeating 1 Geodude. It's also for experience manipulation later. I didn't write down exactly where in the notes it was helpful, but I'm pretty sure it was in, where was it in? Not sure. If I'm going to be doing experience manipulation, I really need to write out where it's helpful. I did it for the first one with the last, but I didn't do it for this one. I'm pretty sure... Oh, I know why. It's so I can level up right before I use the 2 rare candies I get at the start. Because the 2 rare candies, I almost always use them at some point during the journey to the league. And the other rare candies, I'll either use them if a Pokemon is struggling, or I'll save them for the Elite Four. But not the first 2 candies, I don't do them with that. And also, let me know if the audio quality is better, because I changed my sitting position, so I'm talking more directly into the microphone, and I've got the pop filter on it, so it should sound a lot better. Especially since I'm not speaking from back here talking real loud, I'm talking right here. So it should sound a lot better. Okay, this fight is a bit tricky with almost every Pokemon, mainly because Grimer has a disable. Oh, this is a mistake in this run. I was supposed to teach Mega Punch before this because Voltorb goes down in 2 Mega Punches, but it goes down to 3 Water Guns. So it would be faster to use Mega Punch, because I'm gonna teach it Mega Punch anyway. So yeah, that was a mistake in the run, and I'm correcting that mistake right now. I'll be deleting Mega Punch over Bubble. So early on the run, you may have noticed it, like during the Light Years trainer, I swapped Tackle and Bubble, so Bubble's in the first slot, so I use it a lot. And then when I learned Water Gun in the 4th slot, I swapped Water Gun and Bubble. I always like to have my attacking moves in the 1st and the 4th slot. The 1st slot will be the most common move I use, the 4th slot is the 2nd most common, and then the 2nd and 3rd are either a badge boosting move or just some other move I need. And right here, that was almost a reset, so that's why I saved before Jesse and James, because they can be pretty tricky. And then I used the antidote because, in my opinion, if Squirtle dies in the overworld, I count that as a reset, even though you're technically not battling, because you're supposed to be doing this solo. Like, if it dies, then technically the HM slaves are helping you by not making you black out. So if that were to happen, I would have declared it a reset. Okay, now we go on to Rival 2. The plan for Rival 2 on Spearow, I use 2 Mega Punches, but if I get a Growl, then I'm not allowed to use Mega Punch for the whole rest of the fight. But right here, I do get Growled, so I have to spam Water Gun. But if I didn't get Growled, I would have Mega Punched the Rattata, and then Mega Punched the Eevee. I believe the Eevee takes 2 Mega Punches, but some of these Pokemon won't go down to 1 Water Gun, but luckily, the Rattata went down to a critical hit Water Gun. And yeah, I did get hit with some sand attacks here, and I'm wasting quite a lot of health. quite a lot of power points. So this was a problem as I was doing this, because I don't ever use the Pokemon Center right after this rival. I rely on the elixir on Route 25 to restore my PP. So I realized I'm gonna have to use Tackle in some places instead of Mega Punch, because I need to conserve my power points. So yeah, that was a bit of a time loss. But it's not really a big a time loss as you think it is. Alright, so Route 24. Every trainer on this bridge up unto the Junior Trainer Male, it's all spam Water Gun. But on the Junior Trainer Male and the Rocket Grunt, I use Mega Punch, because by then I need to save 3 Water Guns for the hiker guarding the elixir. 2 for his Machop, 1 for his Geodude. Although I do remember in this run, the Machop actually lived through 2 Water Guns due to some low rolls, so I had to use a Tackle. Not really a big deal, but I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, and then as usual, we'll be getting the Charmander for Cut later. I actually won't be teaching a Dig, because Dig is probably one of Squirtle's most helpful moves, especially with taking down electric types. And it's one of I think it's Squirtle's most powerful physical move. Because no, it's not going to get a stab physical move in this game, because water is a special type. And then Body Slam is just 85 base power, while Dig is 100. I mean, it does get Skull Bash, but I think Dig is just better. So yeah, right there, I ended up dying to a critical hit, and I had to start over last number 4. This is the reason I average out in this series real time and in-game time, because it takes deaths into account, and it kinda doesn't at the same time. So I really like it a lot better. I'm glad Van Man figured, like, that method of doing it. There's a fly or mosquito up here or something, jeez. Oh, yeah, it's just choosing to bother me like a little son of a bitch. Okay. Alright, so now we're at the Rocket Grunt. I heal with a potion this time, because I do not want to frickin' die to this guy. And then on him, I'll just be spamming Mega Punch, as I stated earlier. Then the hiker guarding the elixir, I spam Water Gun. You know, in my notes, you know when you're going to Bill's house, oh yeah, let me do this first. It doesn't say in my notes to teach Bite, but the reason I do is because I'm low on power points, and I'm worried Tackle may not deliver the job, so I just teach Bite anyway. If I didn't waste all that power points, I would never have needed to teach Bite. It's just a waste of time, but I figured here it was necessary to do so. Because, like I stated earlier, my PP is a lot lower because of that rival fight. Okay. In my notes, the hiker guarding the elixir, I call him the Northern Hiker, and the hiker with the Onyx is the Southern Hiker, because in order to get to Bill's house, you have to fight one of them. If you don't need the elixir, you fight the Southern Hiker, but if you need the elixir, you gotta fight the Northern Hiker. But the Northern Hiker has 2 Pokemon, while the Southern one has 1. So you gotta decide, is the elixir so important that I need it? If no, then I can just skip it. I don't know if any of my other runs I chose to skip the elixir. I think I did in Bulbasaur. I'm not 100% sure though. And I choose to fight the hiker here instead of the junior trainer, because it's just free experience for Squirtle, since Squirtle's gonna need all the experience he can get. There is one spot before the Elite Four I have to really grind out for. I'll let you know when that comes, because I think in Charmander I did spoil that it was Lance who needed all that grinding. I probably should have waited. Okay, right here was a huge problem, because I ran out of potions, and I can't really get past her at all. But I attempt to keep trying to pass her anyway. I'm not even sure why I did, because it's pointless. There's no way in hell I can win this without more potions. I suppose I could have fixed this by buying a couple of extra potions, but there have been times in routing I had 1 potion left over when I was buying super potions. So I do have to waste like 20 to 30 seconds just to go back to the center and heal. So yeah, that was a bit unlucky. But what can you really do about it? You're bound to get some unlucky parts anyway. And some I'll be doing for this series, I'm not going to be doing multiple attempts to get a good run. As soon as I declare that a route is perfect, as good as I can get it, I will grind out for a run. That's what I'll do. Like, it's kind of like what I did with the Porygon video. because that 58-minute and 20-second Porygon video I made commentary over. It's basically the first episode of the Yellow Speedrun Analysis series that I'm doing. What I had to do for Porygon, basically that was the first run after editing the route. Because I edited the route last minute to make it a lot more consistent and faster. Mainly mimicking Double Team on Giovanni because it was allowed in Scott's rules. It just banned the TM for Double Team. It didn't ban Double Team itself. So I did that and made Giovanni way more consistent. So as I was saying, it made Giovanni a lot more consistent, and then that was the first run I got with the new route, so I stuck with it. I think even if I had like 5 days left in the deadline and I wasn't doing it last minute, I still would have done it like that. I would have kept it at a 58-20 because I believed that was as good as I can get it. Although when Scott made that follow-up video of him optimizing Porygon, he only improved the real time by like less than a minute. So that shows you how optimized my route was. He did make some changes to it that were well-deserved changes. But yeah, that was as good as I can get. Okay, so now I bought us some time, and now we're at Misty. And I had to heal again, because like I said, I'm still out of potions. I don't buy any super potions until after the SS Sand. But luckily on the SS Sand, there's a max potion you can pick up, and there's a full restore in the underground. So you do get some healing items. Okay, here's Misty. Due to her good AI, kind of like with Bulbasaur, except Bulbasaur had Vine Whip, Squirtle just has to spam Mega Punch. Because Misty will just refuse to use Water Gun or Bubble Beam. It'll have a 1 in 3 chance of attacking me. It'll either use X Defend, Harden, or Tackle. So yeah, Charmander definitely had the hardest time here, because it had to be level 30 to get Slash. So that was like the first fight with Charmander. I had to route out a whole ton of extra experience, because he had to be level 30. So I had to do stuff like fight every trainer on Route 25. Fight a lot of the trainers in Mount Moon and all that stuff. Let's see. Alright, I got the full restore in the underground, and then I spam Water Gun on the next 2 trainers. Oh, here's a bit of advice. If you're fighting these 2 trainers, the fastest way to initiate a battle, talk to the junior trainer female from the top, and then go right in front of the junior trainer male's eyesight. Because I've seen some people like Scott, they'll just go behind them in the grass. It's not a good idea because you can get the risk for encounters, and you still have to walk around them. But the fastest way to do it, talk to the girl from above, and then just get in the boy's eyesight. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. It doesn't save you too much time since this is on 4 times speed after all, but I just have the speedrunner's mindset. If there's something I can do that can save 12 seconds, I will frickin' do it. It's the reason I still use the bike even though it's really hard to control, and it's only helpful in like 3 or 4 places, and it doesn't save you like a huge amount of time. I still like to do it because it is time save if performed properly. But I mean, I think I talked about this in the Charmander video too. Oh yeah, this is actually the first Kanto starter I had to use Rest. I don't use them until the Elite Four though, so I'll let you know when that happens. So I picked up the backup Max Potion because if I'm ever out of healing items and I don't want to use my full restore just yet, pick up the Max Potion. But it's only really helpful if you're going to get Rest anyway. But it doesn't cost too much time to get the Max Potion, so you could just go and get it. So I also get the backup Candy. I didn't do this with Bulbasaur because these things have Ember. I didn't do it with Charmander because he was already over-leveled. But Squirtle did need it. Well, I chose to get it when I routed this the first time because it wasn't going to take that much long. But by the time I got to the end, I'm glad I got it. So here's what I do before the rival. I'll heal up with a potion, full restore, or max potion, and then teach Bubble Beam over Water Gun. You may notice on the moveset, like Bubble Beam is the 4th move, even though it's on the top. When I swap moves around, I don't really like swapping them around in the menu. I don't really like doing that, but if it makes it more convenient for you, just let me know in the comments and I'll start doing it like that. Like if I move Bubble Beam to slot 1, I'll move it to slot 1 in the overlay. Let me know if you want it like that. Okay, so then we get cut, leave the ship, and then at the mart we sell our nugget, buy 11 super potions and 5 repels. So that's basically protocol with like every Kanto starter. I already explained in detail why it's important to get exactly 5 repels. I'll just say it again. 3 of them are for Rock Tunnel, 1 is for Route 16 so you can get the rare candy without running into Pokemon, and 1 of them's for the Safari Zone. Because the Safari Zone, you can either use 1 repel, 1 super repel, or 2 super repels. And super repels get pricey. So, in my opinion, instead of buying 3 repels and like 10 super potions, super repels, just buy 5 repels and then buy the 8 super potions. Alright, so I skipped the trash can puzzle. I know Scott's got some sort of ROM modification to get rid of the trash puzzle, but I don't mind doing it like this for this series, so I'll just keep doing it. Okay, right here, I do get a few resets because Surge's AI is random, so Raichu has a 1 in 5 chance of using Thunderbolt. It can also use like Mega Kick, Growl, Tail Whip, I believe, and X-Speed. Yeah, X-Speed. So right here, I dig underground. Raichu has 2 chances to hit me, so if it uses Thunderbolt, I'm dead. Oh right, this was the reason I needed the experience manipulation. The one Geodude. I wanted to get Withdraw right as soon as the fight ended. It's not really too helpful, but I don't really know if it was worth doing it like that, but it doesn't take that much time to defeat a single Geodude anyway, like in Mount Moon, because it's literally just a one-hit. It probably takes just as long to run from it as to kill it, so I don't think it really matters. So then right here, I go in here and I dig. I have the dig on Squirtle, not Charmander, just remember that. And then I get the bike. And as I stated earlier, there's only like 3 or 4 spots where the bike is helpful, like it'll save you at least 5 to 6 seconds, if not more, if done right. The first spot is starting right here. Alright, then I teach Body Slam over Mega Punch. So I did mess up the bike in Cerulean City right there. I don't usually do it like that. I was just a bit like tense while playing the game because I went through a ton of resets at this point and I was starting to get irritated. So that's the reason I made those mistakes. But I always hear people say like, why keep using the bike? You're gonna make mistakes. You can make mistakes while walking in the overworld too, if you're not good at it. Either way, you're gonna make mistakes. But that's why I limit my use of the bike, because in most places the bike either loses you time or the time gained is so insufficient it doesn't even matter. It's like maybe half a second. So right here, I don't blame this on the bike, I just turned down too early and I ended up encountering an unnecessary trainer, so I don't blame this on the bike, that was entirely my fault. Alright, so fighting that extra trainer did mess up my experience manipulation because there are some fights where I didn't level up properly, but they weren't really a big deal, so I'm not even going to mention them. And I'll just continue talking about Rock Tunnel. Let's see. The Pokemaniacs, their Slowpokes are always a big deal without an electric move, since electric and grass are like their only weakness. Bulbasaur had a good time with them. Charmander had to use Slash, and Squirtle had to use Dig or Body Slam. Excuse me. Okay, so then the junior trainer right here, I'm almost out of Body Slam, and then I have to spam Dig on the rest. But then after this fight, I use the Ether I got at the Sea Cottage on Route 25. I use it on Body Slam. There have been some times in routing where I actually forgot to use the Ether, and I'd be fighting the junior trainer saying, hey, wait a minute, where did my Body Slams go? So then right here, I did struggle a little bit, because you have to be a certain position in order to avoid the trainers. So yeah, I think in this instance, the bike didn't save me too much time, but I still think it was faster than walking. Even though with these mistakes, these were way more mistakes than I usually make. Plus, I ended up encountering a trainer here. I didn't even know this trainer was here. The 3 Slowpoke. I actually thought he was only added in the remakes. So I literally had no idea he was here. It's the first time I've ever encountered him, so I did make a lot of mistakes on the bike today, and it may have lost some time, but those kind of mistakes rarely ever happen for me. So I'd say this is about dead even with walking, because even if I was walking, I probably could have encountered that trainer by mistake, because I had no idea he was even there. Alright, so right here I have to spam body slam, which is why I used the ether, because I was out. And then this is the final trainer in Rock Tunnel. Let's see, where to go from here. So the gambler on Route 8, I just spam Bubble Beam on him like usual. And then I go in the underground, I get the elixir, and I enter Celadon City. The elixir in the underground is pretty difficult to get sometimes because if I was on 1 speed, I use a little visual trick with the bike. Like, I will count like 3 seconds real slow, and I'm almost always there. Or you would count the number of times your foot pushed on the pedal. But since I'm on 4 times speed, I just have to walk and mash the A button and hope to God that I find the elixir and not lose too much time. So then right here, I'm no longer on the bike. It's not worth using the bike here. So the bike, I can use it from the bike shop all the way to the underground entrance on Route 8. All in one spot. So that's one of the best spots to use the bike. Okay, so here's some interesting shopping. I sell the TM for Thunderbolt, and I buy TM17, which is Submission. It's a really bad move, generally, but it will be helpful for 1 fight. Just 1 fight, and I'll let you know what that is. I also get Counter to sell for money, which ended up being pointless because I have enough money for a vitamin drink because of the extra trainers I fought. But if I didn't fight those extra trainers, I would have to get Counter to sell it for extra money. So then what I do here, I almost sold Ice Beam right here, and I almost shit a brick. But luckily I didn't do that. And then the 1 vitamin I buy is a calcium, because Squirtle's defense is already pretty good. I don't really care about its attack. It needs all the special it can get. So then I go get Fly. Funny thing is, since I did a bunch of item sorting management in Vermilion City before the gym, as well as getting the bike, the only item management I do here is swap item 4 with the Super Repel, teach Fly, use the calcium, then fly to Lavender Town. Okay, now we're on to Rival 4. Oh god, something's in my throat. Alright, so Firo, I use Bubble Beam. Firo really does like to use Mirror Move. It Mirror moved Bubble Beam, or no, it used Growl, so these body slams were doing a lot less damage. So that Growl did lose me a little bit of time, but not too big a deal anyway. And then on the Sandshrew and Eevee, I was supposed to use Bubble Beam on the Sandshrew, but I used Body Slam by mistake because I misclicked, so yeah. Okay, so then here's the place I do some extra training, because there is a point in this run before the Elite Four I have to grind to a high level. One of the places I chose to grind was in Pokemon Tower, because all these Ghastly go down to 1 dig, and I outspeed most of these trainers. There are some that outspeed and they're a bit threatening, but the ones that do, they only have like 1 Pokemon on their team. So I fight every trainer except for the northernmost channeler on this floor, because she's way too out of the way in my opinion, and she was just not worth fighting at all. Alright, this is generally known as one of the harder channelers because she has 2 Ghastly. If you don't outspeed them, then it's a huge problem. I think Bulbasaur had a really hard time here because he had to rely on Razor Leaf to kill them. Charmander was just fine since he's the fastest of the 3 Kanto starters and had Dig. I believe he had Dig. I don't remember if I taught Charmander Dig or not. That run was like a couple weeks ago. Alright. So then I'll also go on the healing pad, and then I would get the rare candy, both elixirs. So yep, that's basically everything up until I Pokédoll the Marowak. Let's see, what to talk about. Excuse me. I had a milkshake just before recording this video, and I think some parts of it might be still in my throat or something. I don't know. So yeah, here's some. If anyone's curious how I constantly change the border in my overlay, because in my 386 speedrun challenge and the yellow videos, for every Pokemon, I change the border depending on the Pokemon's type. So if you remember the Charmander video, it had like a fiery border, and Bulbasaur had like a green border. Squirtle here has water to it. How I do it, the original image of this overlay, all those borders are solid red, and then I put a chroma filter in OBS to have it get rid of the red to make it transparent, and then right at the bottom there is a wallpaper. It's like an image. I have a bunch of different images in my folder, like I have ground type, I have dark type, a psychic border. I really like the psychic border. It looks pretty cool. If you want to see what that looks like, you can see it in the Mew versus Celebi video. Because Mew used the psychic border, Celebi used the grass border. Because I take into account the first type. So my recent Fire Red and Leaf Green video, which was Flygon, it's a grounded dragon, so I used the ground border. I don't know what the dragon border would have looked like, but it's going to be something pretty cool. Okay, so right here, I Bubble Beam the Meowth, and I used Dig on the Arbok and the Weezing. I'm not really sure if it was worth using Dig, because Dig does just as much as Bubble Beam here. But, oh well. And my Repel also ran out. I had the one Super Repel. I think what I should have done was buy 6 Repels and use the Repel before entering Pokemon Tower, and then when that runs out, I just use the Super Repel. Oh yeah, if you notice that skip there, when I was flying to Celadon, I paused the recording to take a breather, and then when I clicked back onto the emulator, it automatically unpaused and continued the flying. So about 1/3 of a second was cropped out of here, so the timer is slightly inaccurate, but that's not really going to affect the average time at all, so not a big deal. Alright, so right here I run from the Snorlax, and this is another place I train. I fight every single biker on Route 16 and Route 17. I even have specific moves for everybody since I have to do a lot of PP management, because I even use an elixir on this route. So the first biker, I spam Bubble Beam. This hiker, I spam Body Slam. The third biker, I'm doing these from right to left. The third biker, spam Bubble Beam. The fourth one, spam Dig. Fifth one, spam Bubble Beam. Biker 6, spam Body Slam. That's all the ones for Route 16. Man, I really need to work on clearing my throat before doing these videos. Oh my god. Okay. And then on Route 17, I would just get the rare candy, and then from the rare candy, I fight the trainers in a certain order. It's really hard to optimize the order of Route 17 because there's 2 different sides of bicycle road, or cycling road you can go on, and no matter which direction you go, you're going to have to go back up then down again, no matter what. But it ended up not being too big of a deal, because there's nothing you can do about it. You know, if you remember my Fire Red and Leaf Green videos, Route 16 is my favorite place to train because all those scattered bikers are more grouped together, and you can use the Versus Seeker, and the Pokemon give a lot of experience, so it's a really good place to train. Alright, so now I'll be getting the rare candy. My Repel's still active, and here's a little trick. When the biker is 1 tile away from the border on the bottom, then you know you've hit the rare candy. That's a little trick. You don't need to line yourself up and spam A as you go down. That's where you know where to stop. Okay, so here's the first biker. I spam Bubble Beam on him, and then there's a biker right below him. And then there's a biker right below him. I use up the remainder of my Body Slam. As you can see, I had 0, so then I just spammed Bubble Beam. And then there's a biker straight to the left of this guy. So right here, if I go straight left, he's right there. And then, and if I go straight down, I fight another biker, and then that's when I use the elixir. So yeah, this guy I use Dig. Yeah, this is the stuff I need to work on. I need to stop putting in so much silence into these videos. I guess I really didn't put in too much. I'm mostly just bullshitting my words here. But that's kind of what public speaking is. It's just a lot of bullshitting with words. Alright, so then right here, this is when I use the elixir because I'm basically all out of moves. So I'll only have 3 elixirs for the Pokemon League because I only get access to 5 elixirs in this entire route. Like, assuming you don't go to like Seafoam Islands, Power Plant, that stuff, you only get quick access to 5 elixirs. Alright, so then this guy right here, I spam Bubble Beam, and then there's a hiker straight down, I use Dig on the Weezing, and then I use 1 dig on Muck and spam Bubble Beam. The reason I use just 1 dig is because the Muck can use Minimize, and you really don't want to be underground with that huge chance of missing, because it could get off 1 or 2 Minimizes. But I use 1 dig just to get a huge amount of damage done to it. One dig, and then I just use Bubble Beam. Alright, and then I got poisoned. This is why I bought the extra antidotes. If I had just bought the 3, I would have been out. So I knew since I had to fight these trainers here, I needed extra antidotes. Alright, this guy here is a bit tricky. He's got 5 Pokemon. But on this guy, I just spam Dig. Because 3 of his Pokemon will go down to 1 dig. His Weezing, I believe they're a range. Because I think there were some times where they died. But I can't really remember. Because the routing took me like 4 days. Routing is like the hardest part of making these types of videos, but once I do the run, then I just gotta record live commentary without a script, and I'm done. I also do have to make those unique intros you see at the beginning of every episode. I kind of like doing those, because you get to make like a nice spooky poem. I kind of like doing that. And I think they're just really cool, even though they have nothing to do with yellow solo no item challenges. I just find them pretty cool. That's the reason I do it. So right here, I struggled way too much here. On real speed, you just have to count 6 or 7 rows of flowers and then you're there, but on 4 times speed, it's really hard to do that. Alright, and then now, we have to heal up with a super potion, and then we have to fight the final biker. Right there. And then from there, I can just go straight down to Fuchsia City. So these guys I have to use Dig. Unfortunately, he self-destructed. I would have preferred if he didn't, and then I went underground, and then I killed him. Well, it would only have worked if I was faster, went underground, it blew up, and the second one came out and I killed it with Dig. That strategy wouldn't really work if the Voltorb outspeed. Alright, now we're to the Safari Zone. That took quite a while because I had to fight all those trainers, but not a big deal. Alright, so right here, this is a first in the Kanto starters. I actually do not get the full restore. I get it by mistake because I always get the full restore, but I just used it immediately, even though I'm healing at the center afterwards. I'm not supposed to pick that up because during routing, I was really struggling with bag management. So that was a solution. I really did not need the full restore, so I just don't pick it up. Or if I do, just use it immediately, but it's pointless because I heal at the Pokemon Center anyway. Alright, and then I have to use the protein before I can get Surf. And then right after him, I heal in the Celadon Center, and this is another first for the Kanto Trio. I have to use the PC to deposit 2 key items, because I would keep running out of bag room, and there's like nothing I can get rid of. Absolutely nothing. So when that happens, I have to route in, like going to the PC and getting rid of some stuff. Alright, now we're going to enter Saffron City. But here's another place we have to train. The Fighting Dojo. I believe we also had to do this with Bulbasaur too. I don't think Charmander had to do this training though. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't keep track of every single one of my videos. Alright, so I just spam Bubble Beam here. And something that actually changed with Squirtle big time when I made the first route, I actually had Surf on my moveset at this point. But in the final route, which you're seeing now, I actually do not use Surf on Squirtle. I teach it to the Slave Squirtle. Because For the Elite Four, one of the Elite Four members needs a unique moveset, and I cannot have that moveset with Surf on it. I'll let you know when that happens though. But having Bubble Beam is actually not too much of a time loss because even on these guys, Surf was a 2-hit kill anyway. I guess the Man Key might have been 1 hits, but like I said, the only way this run was possible is due to not having Surf. Alright, so I have to save before this trainer because this guy's Hitmonlee is pretty terrifying. It can actually pack a punch, even though it's the kicking Pokemon, but Hitmonchan cannot pack a punch. It's pathetic. So I used a Withdraw to give myself some protection from Withdraw. And then Hitmonchan is just so easy. I just use Bubble Beam. Surf actually does kill these in 1 hit because of their low special, but like I said, I'm not using Surf. And then I actually used the Pokemon Center here to buy 10 Hyper Potions because I'm still out of healing items and I need the Hyper Potions. I guess how I could have fixed this was maybe include fighting those optional trainers in Rock Tunnel and like purchase extra super potions, but this method's just fine. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Okay, now we're in Silphco. We're gonna get the elixir. We're gonna use Dig on this Rocket Grunt here. I don't remember if it kills in 1 hit. Let's see. Goes underground. Yep, it's a kill. When I routed this with that Surf route, I was a much lower level. So Dig would not kill it. So good thing here Dig can kill. And then I get the protein and I have to use it immediately for bag storage purposes. And then I use the elevator to go to the 10th floor, and I'll be getting the Carbos and the rare candy. Because Squirtle, like I said, needs to be a certain level for a certain trainer. And I get the Carbos because Squirtle is, I'm pretty sure Squirtle's the slowest of the 3 Kanto starters. So it's really helpful to get the Carbos. Alright. So then as soon as we get to the rival, before we fight him, we have to use the Carbos on Squirtle, and then this is where Submission comes into play. I teach Submission over Body Slam because we no longer need Body Slam. I'll show you the reason in just a minute why Submission is helpful. At least just for this one scenario. Alright, then I save the game. The trick is, if you go 1 step up, when the rival leaves, he just goes straight right to the teleporter. But if you just go 1 down, he has to walk right around you to the teleporter, which loses time. Alright, here it is right here. Submission is one of the only good ways to kill this Cloyster, because Dig does little damage, water moves aren't going to do shit, Body Slam won't do shit. Cloyster is weak to fighting, so Submission is helpful here. A shout out to Scott's Thoughts for helping me with that, because I was struggling with this fight, and I was asking for some advice. He suggested Submission on Squirtle, so I'm glad I listened. So right here was a reset because I got way too unlucky with Supersonic misses. Well, no. I got unlucky with Supersonic hitting me, and I keep hitting myself in confusion. So yeah, that was upsetting. But something I like about Squirtle, this also applied with Bulbasaur, Cloyster was not threatening at all, because the rival's good AI, Cloyster will never use Aurora Beam or Clamp. Well, I guess on Bulbasaur, it only uses Aurora Beam, so it was still threatening. But Squirtle, Cloyster was the least threatening because it'll only use Spike Cannon or Supersonic. And then right here, I just used Bubble Beam. Luckily, that didn't miss from the Sand Attack. And we're all done with Rival 5. Here's the thing. Magneton did outspeed me, but Thundershock without a crit does 50 damage. So if I was less than 50 and it went for Thundershock, I'd be dead. But if it went for Thunder Wave, there's also a good chance I'd be dead too. Alright, and then right here, I just spam Bubble Beam because I tried using Dig. Dig and Bubble Beam on poison types do basically the same amount of damage. So it just was not worth using at all. Alright, now here's Giovanni. I don't really want to talk about him, so I'm just going to talk about something about the Kanto starters. Like with Bulbasaur, Exeggutor was still threatening because it spammed Hypnosis. Cloyster was still threatening because it spammed Aurora Beam. Charmander like on Charmander, Exeggutor would not use Leech Seed because I'm a fire type. But I think if I was asleep, it would still use Leech Seed. I'm not sure. But Squirtle made some of the rivals' Pokemon really not threatening. Cloyster couldn't do anything to me. Exeggutor would only spam Leech Seed. So that's an advantage Squirtle has. It made a bunch of the rivals' Pokemon not scary at all. Alright, so right here I do get Mimic. And then I'm not teaching it just yet, but instead I'm teaching Ice Beam over Submission, but I'm only using Ice Beam for a couple of fights, and that's it. I'm only using Ice Beam for Erica's gym, because Ice Beam was not worth holding on to in the later games. I mean, obviously there's Lance, but I need a very specific moveset for Lance, as I said earlier. Alright, and then we're just on our way to Erica's gym. I'm not fighting all the trainers in here, because I already finished all my necessary training. I'll just go ahead and tell you what the training was for. It was all for Koga. I determined through a bunch of testing I needed to be a minimum of level 50 in order to outspeed his first 3 Venonat. And that was the main thing I was worried about. Because in routing, I just couldn't win with them outspeeding me, using Psychic to lower my special, or putting me to sleep, or using Toxic. I needed to be faster than those 3. I wasn't going to be faster than Venomoth because I'd have to be a level that's way too high. Okay, this is where my experience manipulation was screwed up from those extra fights. I was supposed to level up after this trainer here so I'd get the most out of my rare candies, but I didn't. But it didn't really matter. I just basically wasted time fighting a few extra trainers. So yeah, I think I could have improved this run by an extra minute or 2 in the average. But the thing is, with averaging the time, trying to save real time isn't going to make much of a difference if the in-game time is going to be the same. So I think just one attempt works just fine. Alright, and then now that I'm level 52, I believe, I couldn't remember, I wasn't looking at the screen, all of our Pokemon get outsped and killed in one hit. I remember with the Surf route, I was a lower level. Her Tangela and Gloom and Weeping Bell would all outspeed me and use Sleep Powder or Razor Leaf, which is just really bad. But Erica's now no longer threatening, and then I can immediately fight Koga. With the extra routing, I'm 2 levels higher than where I should be, which is good. I'm fine with that, because Squirtle's gonna need to be a high level anyway. So what difference does it make? Alright, and then the first 2 trainers, I actually use Ice Beam because it's the best move I have for dealing with them. Because Dig takes too long, Bubble Beam isn't going to do much at all. Ice Beam is well, I guess Bubble Beam and Ice Beam would be about the same if you include Stab with Bubble Beam, but it doesn't really matter. Since I had Ice Beam on the moveset, I just decided to use it because there's always the chance for a freeze, you know? I believe I did get a freeze on this second trainer right here. I do believe I did get a freeze on him. I believe it was on the Drowsy. Or no, it was the Hypno. Right there. In this game, if you're frozen, you never thaw out unless the opponent uses a fire move. And Pokemon that can freeze you, they will not have a fire move, so it was almost impossible to thaw out. Alright, and then right here, I teach Mimic over Ice Beam because Ice Beam is no longer needed, and I will be relying on Mimic a lot through some of the later fights. Here's what I have to do for Koga. I have to Mimic Sleep Powder turn 1, because I'm going to be doing what Bulbasaur did, but I did get put to sleep, but then I missed Sleep Powder, and then I get put to sleep. Psychic isn't doing too much damage to me, due to my increased special with the Calcium, plus the fact that I'm over-leveled as hell. So, the plan for Koga, use Sleep Powder on the first 3 Venonat, and then kill them with Bubble Beam. They do go down in 2 hits, but I put them to sleep because I do not want to risk myself being put to sleep or hit with Toxic. So this fight I lose solely because I kept missing too many Sleep Powders and they just kept getting hits on me. So yeah, that was a reset right there. I believe this fight only took like 2 tries, I believe. It's not like too many resets to where I need to skip ahead in this video, but So yeah, this fight is basically pretty consistent as long as you can hit Sleep Powder. As long as you can hit Sleep Powder, you're almost guaranteed to win the fight. You only have to hit like 3 Sleep Powders usually. But if the opponent like wakes up too early, you have to waste time with another Sleep Powder. Plus, I get put to sleep right here. And if I get my special lowered, that isn't too good, because it's going to take more bubble beams to kill them. See right there? I missed a Sleep Powder. Ah, god damn it. Sorry about that. I just knocked over my mic setup. Okay, so this fight did take quite a few tries. I did not keep track of how many tries this took. I don't want to fast forward in the run too much because I really don't know where I need to fast forward to, because that's the problem. Alright, are we almost done yet? Let's see. Alright, we're on the Venomoth. I just have to put the Venomoth to sleep. Toxic won't matter as long as I can kill it quickly. Venomoth is still asleep. That's good. Boom, I win. There we go, all good and done. So yeah, this fight took a few tries, mainly due to Sleep Powder luck. So this fight is pretty luck dependent, but it's basically one of your best ways of winning. I tried to get myself poisoned so I can't get hit with Sleep Powder, but I just could not kill Koga quick enough. So that plan was out the window. Okay, and then what I do right here, I get Strength, I move the Hyper Potions to slot 3. Actually, I think I did that earlier. I was supposed to do it here, but oh well. And then I teach Strength and Surf to the Slave Squirtle. Here's a trick. Teach Surf first and then Strength. So that way Strength is put at the top, so it makes Victory Road more easy, because you have to use Strength more often than Surf. But I forgot to do that here, so now Surf is at the top and Strength is on the bottom. Oh well, not a big deal though. Okay. Alright, and then now we surf down to Cinnabar Mansion. We have to... excuse me. I am not good at live commentary shit. Man, I probably shouldn't have had a milkshake right before this. Jeez. Alright, and then I have to get and use the Carbos, which I just did. I'll be getting the Tiumber Blizzard, even though I usually get it anyway since it's in the way, because I don't want to fight that trainer. Usually I would just throw it away or sell it, but here I do not sell it or get rid of it. I'm actually using Blizzard for a later fight. I almost tried to fly out of a building right there, don't question me. And then what I have to do, I actually messed up the instructions. I was supposed to dig out, then fly to Saffron, and then and fight Sabrina, but I flew to Cinnabar to heal at the center. It doesn't really matter since it still achieves this. I think it's better to do it this way anyway. You dig out, fly to Cinnabar Island, use the center, and then fight Sabrina, so afterwards you dig right back to Celadon, to Cinnabar, and you're ready to fight Blaine. Okay, this fight is pretty tricky. If Abra hits a flash on me, immediately I'm supposed to reset, but I chose to risk it here and keep going, because I now have to mimic Kinesis, and I have to use 2 Kinesis on Kadabra, because if you use 2, their accuracies drop to 50%, but if you use 6, it's 25%. So it wasn't really worth it using it more than 2 times. But Flash, in Gen 1, Flash has a 30% chance to miss, plus if you combine that with the 25% chance of all status moves by the AI missing, they did that for the first 2 generations, I believe. So I believe Flash had a higher chance of missing than actually hitting. So then right here, Flash failed, which is good. So now I have to mimic Kinesis. There is a chance Kadabra could use Kinesis on me, but I'm fine with that, because there's almost no way to avoid Kinesis from him. Because even if I use 2 Kinesis, sometimes he could still hit a Kinesis. And then I have to use 6 Withdraw to set up the badge boost glitch, mainly in speed. Because, well, attack as well, but mainly speed was the priority, because I needed to outspeed and kill him in 1 hit. Luckily, the Kinesis did not hit through there, and I was able to win. My back is starting to hurt, so I'm going to straighten out a little bit. Alright, I'm going to try and talk a bit louder so you can still hear me. So I might sound a bit off, because I just need to sit up. Alright, so now I dig to the Cinnabar Island, heal at the center again, and fight Blaine. Here's what I do for Blaine. It's also a luck-dependent strategy. You might be noticing a pattern here. Squirtle has to really rely on luck-dependent strategies, which is his major downfall. He has to rely on luck for a lot of fights. I mean, Bulbasaur had to rely on luck for Blaine too, but he didn't have to rely on luck for Koga, because Toxic would just not work, and his good AI would prevent him from using Sleep Powder. So Bulbasaur had an advantage in some places, but Squirtle does not have those advantages. So here's what I have to do. I actually did change my route through this while doing this run. So you might see me doing something that's different from what my notes are saying, but here's what I had to do to get the winning fight. I had to mimic Confuse Ray, then spam Bubble Beam, then Rapidash spam Bubble Beam, then Confuse Ray on Arcanine spam Bubble Beam. You did see there I was trying to use Withdraws to set up the speed badge boost, but it wasn't too helpful anyway because I'm just opening the doors to allow myself to get hit with more Confuse Rays and Tail Whips and Stomps and Fire Blasts. It just wasn't helpful. So yeah, you keep seeing I'm trying to use Withdraw, even though that wasn't my final strategy. I realized during this run that was actually a bad strategy. I don't remember though how many tries it took me to beat Blaine. I don't know if it was too high of a number, but I will check. I have the raw video on my desktop right now in VLC. I'm going to try and open it. And I'm going to fast forward through it because I'm going to figure out the timestamp. Alright, I'm going to need to minimize this window for a second. Let's see. Here we are. Okay, there we are. Alright, my reset counter was at 17, so I will fast forward through just a little bit. This was the attempt. I really should have had that timestamp marked down, but oh well. Alright, then I just use one Confuse Ray, and then Bubble Beam. There's no point in setting up Withdraw because I don't get a special badge boost. At least yet. I'd have to defeat Blaine first to get the special badge boost. Alright, and I got the speed drop on Rapidash, which is good because Rapidash only had one chance to hit me. And then it hit itself in confusion, and then I was able to take down Blaine. Alright, now we're on to Giovanni. I'm glad in yellow. You know what's weird? In yellow, you can no longer dig out of Bill's house, but you can still dig out of Sabrina and Blaine's gym. Makes no sense, but I'm still glad you can do that, because it's pretty cool. So then I have to dig out, fly to Viridian City, heal at the center, and enter the gym. The gym trainers in this game are a lot easier. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, this cool trainer is considered his own mini-boss. Because in Fire Red and Leaf Green, he has two Marowak, a Rhyhorn, a Nidorino, and a Nidorino. Or a Nidorino and a Nidoqueen. So he was a lot tougher in the remakes. The Black Belt has basically the same team, so he was only really ever hard in the Leaf Green series I do if I was using a Dark type. Like with Poochyena I did as the second episode, Poochyena really struggled with that guy. Because he kept using like Vital Throw and Reversal, and it just sucked. Alright, now we're on Dugtrio. So Dugtrio is kind of threatening because it can use Fisher, but it goes down one Bubble Beam. And right here I'm going to pull a Porygon. I'm going to mimic Double Team, since it is allowed in the rules, because you can only use Double Team if you get it by Mimic or Level Up. So I'm interested in seeing how Pikachu will do for this for the 4th episode of this series to determine like which of the Kanto starters can beat Yellow the fastest in average time. Because Pikachu gets double teamed early on as a level up move, it could use that to get past some pretty hard fights. But double team is still a very luck dependent strategy, but it's also a good way to set up badge boost too, so you never know. I'm really curious to see how Pikachu will do. And there's also something I'm going to bring up. Alright, I'm gonna bring this up right here. I had a poll asking all of you on YouTube which of the 4 Kanto starters do you think will do the best, and a majority of you picked Squirtle, so we'll see if you're right. Alright, so now, Rival 6. I have to use 6 withdraws on Sandslash, because Sandslash can't really do too much when I set up my defense, because Poison Sting will do little as long as it doesn't poison, Fury Swipes does hardly anything, but Slash is still pretty threatening. Oh yeah, Fury Swipes does hardly anything either. So it's best to set up the badge boost here. And I'm pretty sure I do not level up for this whole fight. So yeah. And then I just Bubble Beam here. Execute's pretty tough. But since I'm poisoned though, the Execute will not go for Stun Spore, and it'll try and use Stun Spore. So right here I instantly reset, because if I were to go underground to use Dig, I would die. So yeah, I do not want to get poisoned here at all. Alright, so I just use Withdraw, Poison Sting does like 4 damage, Fury Swipe gets a critical hit, and it hits 5 freaking times, so I just immediately reset, because I knew shit was going to go down the toilet if I kept going at that. Alright, now we're going to another fight. And then, Withdraw, Fury Swipes does hardly anything, Poison Sting doesn't poison, it got a critical hit, but still no poison, and I get the poison. But I choose to keep going anyway, because I still have a decent amount of health left, so I should be able to do fine. Plus the advantage, if you can get poisoned and still have a huge amount of health, at least half, it makes Execute extremely easy, because it'll only use Solar Beam. So it's good to get poisoned here, but you still need to have a decent amount of health left. So the Cloyster can screw me up with Supersonic. I have enough like power points to take poison damage from underground with Dig. And then Flareon, I was supposed to use Bubble Beam, but I ended up taking unnecessary poison damage, but it doesn't matter. Either way, it would have killed. Alright, so right here, since I'm all out of antidotes and I don't have a full restore, I actually have to go back to the center and heal, which was no bueno. But if I had an antidote left, I would have been fine. Alright, so the final place it's worth using the bike is after you get out of the water on Route 23, because it makes the boulder puzzles a lot better since you can just keep bumping into walls to guide yourself. But the main problem is, if you plan to get the rare candy, it makes the rare candy a lot harder to get. And if you get off and on the bike, it's just slow. But for here, I will be getting the rare candy, so I do not use the bike at all for this section, because normally I'd be on the bike here. Alright, I might try and skip Victory Road, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Alright, here we are. I'm at the part where I'm depositing my HM users. So just remember, I did get the rare candy out of Victory Road. And then what I do, this is something I do for almost all the Pokemon, I buy 5 full restores, and then right here, I move them to item slot 1, and usually I teach a TM here if needed, but I don't. So I save right outside the gate and go fight Lorelei. Lorelei is pretty kind of easy, because Dewgong really isn't threatening except for takedown, but after setting up withdraws, it's not going to be able to hurt itself. So the reason I used Bubble Beam after just 2 withdraws is to make the Dewgong go to sleep when he used Rest instead of Rest failing. Because if I can get Dewgong to go to sleep, that's less time for it to attack me. And then I just have to spam dig on Dewgong. This Cloyster can only use Spike Cannon on me. That's even better because there's no supersonic confusion bullshit to deal with. So Slowbro is actually the most threatening Pokemon on our team, because it'll spam Amnesia or Psychic. Those are the only moves it can use, and a Psychic after 3 Amnesias, even though I set up 3 Amnesias, still not good. It does like 1/4 of my health. So ideally, turn 1 I want with Amnesia, turn 2 will always be Amnesia due to how her AI works, turn 3 I have to hope for Amnesia, and then I spam dig on the Slowbro. And I have to hope when I'm above ground it uses Amnesia, when I'm underground it uses Psychic. That's what I hope for at least. So yeah, Slowbro is actually the most threatening Pokemon even though I don't have a Psychic weakness, which I find pretty hilarious. Alright, let's see. Yep, there's not much else to talk about with this fight. At least until I get to Bruno. Yep, that fight's a loss. Well, let's see, something else to talk about. Oh yeah, I actually finally completed my living dex in Pokemon Sword. I got all 400 of the main Pokemon that are in the Pokédex, and I got the Shiny Charm. Something I liked about Sword and Shield, if you and a pal have Sword and Shield, you can very easily get the Shiny Charm and complete your Pokédex. Because in a lot of games, people really don't get to experience the Shiny Charm because most of the time you have to transfer over hundreds of Pokemon from another game just to get the remaining Pokemon you need for the National Dex. But with it stuck to the regular Dex, then you don't even need the extra 200 that the DLC added either. You don't need it. You just need the 400, which I find pretty reasonable because 400 is still a lot of Pokemon. It took me weeks to get that living dex, and I was playing the game every single day. So yeah, it was a lot of work. And I'm trying to think of like what shiny I want to hatch, because I really want to try the Masuda method out with the Shiny Charm and get the 1 in 500 odds of a shiny, but I'm trying to figure out what I want. I was thinking of a Dino because Hydreigon's one of my favorite Pokemon, but I don't really like it shiny. But then again, having a shiny is just impressive looking. And plus, I plan to go on the 3DS Virtual Console. I bought Crystal on the 3DS before the eShop is gonna not allow debit cards to be used at the end of May. I know it's lasting until 2023, the eShop, but past May, you won't be able to add funds to it. It's just March is the last day you can use those funds before. I don't even think they're refunded. I think they just keep whatever funds are on there, because they give you warning saying, hey, it shuts down, please use up all your money. They might give it back as a refund. I don't know what they'll do. Alright, so now we finally finished Lorelei, and now we're on to Bruno. Bruno is actually, like, not surprising to a lot of you. He's easy in this one. I know Charmander had a difficult time with him, mainly because the Onix had Rock Throw. But, right here, I mimic Double Team, solely because I actually forgot Hitmonchan knew Double Team. I only used 3 of them because that's all the badge boosting I need. I know some of you may be upset about Double Team being used, but come on, this is only like the 2nd fight in the entire run I've used it. And that's it too. None of the other Pokemon in the league have Double Team. Bruno's Hitmonchan is the only Pokemon in the entire league that actually has Double Team. So yeah. And Bruno's usually pretty easy for most Pokemon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Unless I have a Pokemon that learns it by level up. Okay, I will say this. Agatha was so freaking hard. Mainly because of luck. But what makes it stupid, I can't use Substitute to block out a lot of the RNG because Mega Drain always breaks the Substitute. That's the problem. It does way too much damage, but with Bulbasaur and Charmander, Mega Drain wasn't very effective, so it would keep the Substitute up. And with them, Agatha was easy, but I can't use Substitute to break a lot of that luck. Here's what I had to do for Agatha. Mimic Confuse Ray on Gengar, use Confuse Ray, and then I use 3 withdraws and dig. but the strategy can easily change depending if she swaps out Pokemon or whatnot. The strategy can easily change on the spot. And then Golbat, Confuse Ray, spam Bubble Beam, Dig the Haunter, Arbok, Confuse Ray, 3 withdraws and Dig, and Gengar, Dig. The reason I use the 3 withdraws on Gengar is solely so I can outspeed some of her Pokemon, but sometimes if I don't have time to use them, I just have to deal with being outsped. I actually do have a timestamp here because it takes so many attempts. Let's see, it's around when the timer is 1:22:31. Alright, look at that reset counter. It did not get to 156 resets. I was actually really pissed off at the game, so I took the reset counter and I just spammed it in frustration because I was so pissed. So yeah, the reset counter is totally freaking wrong. But I don't measure my runs based on the reset counter anyway. It's just to show off, really. I've been thinking of putting a reset counter in my Fire and Leaf Green series. So instead of me saying after many attempts, you'll be able to see exactly how many attempts it took. That's what I'm thinking of doing, really, but I'd have to make room in the overlay for it. Alright, so I finally ended up beating Agatha, and now I get to move on to Lance. Lance was the trainer I needed all of that experience for. Because I did the math, I need to be I had to be a minimum level 62 in order to make this fight somewhat possible. Since I get to a high level with Koga anyway, after doing the rest of the mandatory fights, I'm level 59 and I have 3 rare candies saved up, so I get to level 62 straight away. You don't need to be level 62, you could do it a bit lower, but I get to this level anyway since I have to be at least 50 for Koga. So Koga was the main reason I had to do all that training, not Lance. But Lance was still frickin' hard. Mainly because his Gyarados knows Hyper Beam, it knows Dragon Rage, and I don't have a way to put Gyarados to sleep or to heal myself. Or I do have rest, but I'll end up getting killed while I'm asleep. So this is the exact moveset I needed. Withdraw, Rest, Mimic, and Blizzard. Here's the plan. I have to spam Blizzard on Gyarados until I get a freeze. It's a 10% chance per Blizzard, so 3 Blizzards is a 30% chance. That's the chance of hitting a Horn Drill. Trust me, if Squirtle was able to learn Horn Drill, I would rather just spam Horn Drill until it dies. But Blastoise could learn Fissure, Squirtle cannot, and besides, Gyarados is a flying type, so Fissure will not work on it anyway. If there's ever a time where I do get stuck, I will try and rely on a one-hit KO move, because if I have 2 chances to use it, then that's like maybe a 60% chance I get it within 2 tries. I don't know exactly how the math works. So right here, I finally get a freeze, and then I'm able to put myself to sleep. Lance doesn't have full restores here, he just has hyper potions, so he can't heal himself out of freeze. But here's another problem. I need to kill Gyarados with Blizzard, but if it's in right there, I ran out of Blizzards. That was the bad thing. Plus, even if I get it to low health, Lance has a chance of using a hyper potion, and that's a reset because I run out of Blizzards. Even though I use the PP up on Blizzard, I also use the PP up on Mimic too, because I have to mimic Dragonair's Ice Beam so I can kill the rest of his dragons. So yep, and then on Dragonair I Blizzard, the 3rd Dragonair I mimic Ice Beam, and then use Ice Beam, and then the rest of him I use Ice Beam. But on the winning attempt, I actually forgot to mimic Ice Beam on Dragonair, so when I get to Dragonite, I'm out of Blizzards, but I have Mimic, so I have to mimic Blizzard from Dragonite, and I had to miss Thunder twice in order for me to kill it. I'm going to skip ahead to the winning attempt, because I do have the timestamp. 1:34:22. Oh, shit. Oh, no, that was the winning rival fight. 1:31:09. Oh, god damn it. I'll just stop here. Alright, so right here, I was supposed to mimic Ice Beam, but look what I do. Oh. Wait, is this even the winning attempt? No, this isn't. Alright, I'm almost at the winning attempt. I believe it's this one right here. Alright, then I get the Blizzard. Do I get the Miss? No, I do not. I get a Hyper Beam. I hate that. And it heals. That's a reset because I will not have enough Blizzards. But man, this fight was frustrating. More frustrating than Agatha because I knew I could beat Agatha if I would stop getting bullshit luck. But here, I wasn't even getting the luck I needed. So yeah, I guess they're both frustrating, but Agatha took me way more tries. I believe it took like 15 minutes of real time on 4 times speed just to get a winning fight. Alright, and it seems like whenever I can use like 20 Blizzards in a row and not even get the freeze, and it always irritated me too. Alright, this right here is the winning attempt. I know for sure it is. So then right here, Blizzard. Nope. Blizzard. Nope. I ended up killing it, but here's an alternative route. If I can kill the Gyarados in 3 Blizzards, a freeze isn't necessary. Because what I can do, I'll just mimic Ice Beam, I'll set up my 6 withdraws on here. But here's what I did on this fight. I used Blizzard, I forgot to mimic Ice Beam. And I used my 1 Blizzard on Aerodactyl, and when I got to Dragonite, I had to mimic Blizzard. I easily could have been killed with Thunder. But then look, I missed Blizzard, it missed another Thunder, I missed Blizzard, it hit me with Thunder, but I still lived due to the badge boosts, and then I win. That was a pretty stupid fight. Pretty stupid, but that was the best I could do at this low of a level, because getting more training done would have cost a lot more time than necessary. Alright, let's see, 134... 25. Oh, god damn it. I did not write these timestamps properly. I wrote the timestamps for the end of the fight, not the beginning of the fight. I'm pretty stupid. Oh well, there's not much time left in the raw recording anyway. I'll just show you all the losing attempts. Alright, so here's what I have to do for the champion fight. Let me just get this window out of the way. God damn it. Alright, here's what I have to do. I have to mimic Earthquake from Sandslash, use a Blizzard, it'll most likely die to a Blizzard, but sometimes the range and I gotta use Earthquake. Alakazam, just 2 Earthquakes. If I get hit with Kinesis, it's better to reset because it can be really bad since on Cloyster, you have to use like 4 Earthquakes to kill it. So you don't want Earthquake missing, otherwise you'll run out of moves. And then Exeggutor, since it only uses Leech Seed, it's the perfect chance to use Rest and set up all my 6 withdraws, and then I Blizzard and Earthquake on it. Magneton's Earthquake, Cloyster goes down to 4 Earthquakes, Flareon goes down to an Earthquake. It'd be a lot better if Squirtle could actually learn the TM for Earthquake so I wouldn't have to waste a turn on Sandslash, but it doesn't really matter. So right here, this was the reason I should have reset, because I got hit with that Kinesis. So right here, Cloyster only uses a Spike Cannon. It doesn't have Supersonic anymore, otherwise it would start spamming the living heck out of it. So as you can see right here, I keep missing and it's healing off HP because I'm still hit with Leech Seed, which is not good at all. Alright, Spike Cannon keeps going. I finally kill the Cloyster, but I have 1 Earthquake left, and I got a critical hit quick attack. That was irritating, because even if my badge boost had worn off, I still have the +6 in defense from withdraw. So that quick attack should not have killed unless it was a crit. That irritated me so much. So yep, I basically explained the entire strategy, and this is the winning attempt. Here it is, Psybeam and 2 Psybeams. Critical hit. Okay, the next one's the winning attempt. I actually got the best case scenario for Alakazam here. which was recover turn 1 and a non-crit Psybeam turn 2. That's actually the best I can hope for. Either that or a Kinesis miss, but either way works. I get to heal on Exeggutor anyway. Alright, so right here, recover, it fails. I use Earthquake, Psybeam, and I use Earthquake. Boom. And then Exeggutor, I use Rest. Alright. Leech Seed, it doesn't really matter that I avoided the attack, since it's gonna hit Leech Seed no matter what I do. Especially since Rapid Spin and Defog does not exist in this game, so I can't just get rid of battlefield status things like Stealth Rock or Leech Seed or stuff like that. Alright, this fight just takes a while. Whenever I use Rest, I always take 30 hit points of damage, so I will never be at full health. So right here was a bit of bad luck because the rival used the full restore. Not good, but not a big deal, since I'll be relying on Earthquake anyway for the whole rest of this run. Alright, then I just use an Earthquake, it uses Spike Cannon. Each Spike Cannon's only doing like 3 health of damage because of all of those withdraws I set up. So it was a good thing I set them up, otherwise the Cloyster could be a bit more threatening. But then again, if it got critical hit, whew, that would not be good. I actually did use Rest here because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it past Cloyster or not. I honestly think it was a waste of time for me to do that because Cloyster can't do much of anything, and the Flareon's a one-hit, but I was worried about getting another critical hit quick attack. So then, boom, I kill it, and then Flareon goes down in one hit, and done. I hope y'all enjoyed that run. Squirtle got an in-game time of 4 hours and 15 minutes, and a real time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 20 seconds. So that equals an average time of 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 40 seconds. This puts Squirtle at the bottom of our leaderboard in terms of Kanto starters, but we still have Pikachu left to do, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. And then after that, we'll be using the good old random number generator to determine our next Pokemon. That's all I got for you. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next speedrun.